smallest particle. We are told the atom is the smallest. Then we further studied physics. Then in the next class they told there are particles smaller than the atoms. Electron, neutron, positron. Then they told even smaller than them they are there. So how can, so they don't know what is the smallest particle. But Krishna is telling that the smallest spiritual particle is achedyoya. It is indivisible. Akledyaha. It is insoluble. Cha. Adaya cannot be burned. It cannot be burnt. Generally speaking, in the material world, we are always interested in something which is uh, fire resistant, as they call it, fire resistant material. In metallurgy or in material sciences, they always are interested in the materials which are cannot be burnt. So obviously, if you construct a house of the material which cannot be burnt, then you are free from the fear of fire. But the soul is naturally adhaya. It's designed that way. I am this soul. Eva certainly asoshaha cannot be dried. Generally speaking, everything in the world will be dry. When we visited Siberia once, I was thinking that such cold temperature here, Kimoro and Krasnoyarsk, and I said, how the clothes will dry here? It's so cold out here. But still, the clothes were drying. Although we kept them outside the window, they were still drying because of the wind and whatever it is. It took some time, but they were drying. But the soul is cannot be dried. And the soul is nityaha. Nitya means eternal. Sarvagataha, it's all pervasive. All pervasive means it is capable of going to the sun planet, the moon planet, Rahu planet, wherever it is, to the heaven, to the hell, everywhere, and to Vaikuntha also, and Golok Vrindavan also. Sthanu is fixed. Achalaha, non-moving. Achala. Achala means actually like this Mandara Achala. Mandara Achala, Sundara Achala, Nila Achala. Achala means mountain. Generally, mountains are considered achala, unmoving. But previously, mountains also used to move. They used to fly from one place to another place. But Indra cut their wings. But the soul is really achala, non-moving. Ayam, the soul is sanatana, ever existing. Means sanatana, existing. Beginning less time. Ayam, the soul is avyakta, imperceptible. Avyakta means not perceived very easily. Scientists also are debating whether the soul is there or not there. Imperceptible to them even also. Ayam, this soul is achintya, inconceivable. You cannot conceive it by your mind. Ayam, the soul is vikarja, immutable, unchangeable. Immutable means unchangeable. Like there is, it cannot be changed. Is vikarja. So, immutable. Tasmat, therefore, viditva, knowing, evam, like this, na arasi. It is not befitting, anushochitam, to lament enam for this soul. The jivatma is indivisible, insoluble, cannot be burned or dried, is eternal, all pervasive, permanent, non-moving, ever existing. He is imperceptible, inconceivable, being free from the 6 types of transformation such as birth and death is immutable. After understanding the Atma in this way, it is not proper for you to lament. So basically, Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna again and again, don't lament for this body of either the body or the soul of Bhishma or anyone. Because they are not going to die, they are not going to die. Even if we kill them, they are not going to die. Their body will only die. And that is the whole thing, this whole Bhagavad Gita is told. Because Bhishma Dronatata Jadrata Jala Gandhara Nilupala Shalya Grahavati Krupena Vahani Karnena Velakula Ashthama Vikarma ಘೋರ ಮಕರ ದುರ್ಯೋಧನಾವರ್ತಿ ಸೂತ್ರಿನಾಥಲವರು ರಣದಿ ಕವರ್ತಕ ಕೇಶವ. They're very ferocious warriors. If the Kurukshetra war field is compared to a river, then they were like sharks. Huh? They were sharks were floating. Huh? There were crocodiles. There were so many dangerous sea creatures. Huh? Timingala fish, big Timingala fish were there. Suppose you are riding a small boat, you are actually aboard a small boat actually. Mm. And you are trying to cross an ocean, ferocious ocean, Atlantic or Pacific. How can you cross? Understand? In a small boat. Unless you are a good captain. Like when Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj was crossing Atlantic to go to New York, he said that he had 2 heart attacks. And and the captain, Mr. Captain was Sharma. Mr. Captain Sharma told that, I have never seen Atlantic so peaceful. Maybe Swamiji was on the board and that's why Bhagwan showed mercy to us and Atlantic was peaceful. And Sai Maharaj said that Atlantic would have shown the real ferocious face, I would have died. Then he had a dream, he saw that 10 incarnations of Bhagwan were rowing a boat and he was sitting in that boat. Then he realized that all the incarnations and Krishna himself is protecting him. Rakhe Krishna Mare Krishna Rakhe ke. Huh? So actually, this verse is very, very important verse. That Achyadyoyam Adayam Aklibdya Ashvachevacha Nitya Sarvagana Sthanur Achaloyam Sanatana. So actually, the self is indivisible, unburnable, insoluble, and cannot be dried up. It is eternal, all-pervading, changeless, non-moving, unmoving, and primeval. Since the soul is invisible, achedya, it cannot be cut. The soul is indivisible, it cannot be cut. It cannot be burnt because it is unburnable. Adhaya. The soul cannot be moistened by water because it is insoluble. Nor can it be withered by wind because it cannot be dried up. Thus, the effects stated in the previous verse are byproducts of the soul's qualities mentioned in this one. So, the second half of this verse explains why the soul is not subject to the effects of the above mentioned weapons. Because it is eternal, nityaha, all pervading, sarvagataha, changeless, thanu, unmoving, achalaha, primeval, sanatana. It is not subject to any transformation whatsoever. Something subject to action causes a result of that action, such as production, acquisition, transformation, change of condition. Being eternal, the soul is not produced. Since it is all pervading, it cannot be acquired. Being changeless, it is not transformed. And being unmoving, it is not subject to any change of condition. For emphasis, the word eva surely is intended to modify all of the soul's qualities mentioned in this verse. Jiva Goswami explains the word sarvagata has meaning dependent, gataha on God, who is everything, sarva. Everything is but God, and his energy is one who is aware of this and thus depends exclusively on God in all circumstances, experiences all pervasiveness through his dependence on he who is all pervasive. So basically, it's a very, very important verse. This verse is very, very important. That Nitya Sarvagana Sthanu Achaloyam Sanatana Achideyam Adayoyam Akludya Ashutchevacha Nitya Sarvagata Sthanu Achaloyam Sanatana. So here Krishna is telling that this soul is indivisible. It is the smallest particle actually. The Atma has been described as invisible, etc. Repetition of this indicates the eternality of the Jivatma and removes the doubts of those who are uncertain of its nature. If one says 3 or 4 times that there is Dharma in Kali Yuga, the repetitive use of the words will stress the fact that without doubt there is a Dharma in Kali Yuga. Similarly, so repetition actually is very important. Like for example, repetition is always there. Harer Nama, Harer Namaiva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gataranyatha. Three times told, Harer Nama, Harer Namaiva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gataranyatha. In Kalyuga, there is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. So then, three times when it is told, then we understand, oh, really, this is very clear that there is no other way but Harinam. So, so here also, again and again, Krishna is telling that Jivatma cannot be destroyed. Jivatma has no death. Understand? Similarly, Jivatma's qualities have been repeated to confirm the eternality of his nature. Here the word Sarvagata, all pervasive, indicates that due to his own actions, the Jiva transmigrates all species of life such as devas, human beings, animals and birds. Understand? So you'll see that actually the living entity transmigrates to devas, his demigods also. So it is possible that the living entity has some particular type of demigod, Indra, Chandra, Varun, Surya, like this. And the living entity sometimes becomes human being, sometimes becomes an animal. Actually, so many types of animals, I never even knew that they existed. Many times I see like Discovery Channel and YouTube, many videos they upload, and you don't know that there are so many animals, so many species of snakes, so many types of fish, so many types of reptiles, wild animals are existing. Understand? You don't actually previously didn't know that, but with the advent of internet, you get so much information, and you can see the videos and you see that there are so many types of animals. Like recently in India, some cheetahs, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he 6 cheetahs we got from Namibia, country in Africa. The cheetahs were previously in India, but they become extinct. Means they got so much. People used to raise cheetahs in India previously as pet animals, but then they got extinct. So again, Narendra Modi ji, Prime Minister of India, got cheetahs, and they are the fastest land animals, running at 110 kilometers per hour speed, like a train. And you see that there are so many types of animals are there, so many types of monkeys also, so many types of monkeys are there. The gorilla, chimpanzee, langur in India, langur, red monkeys are there. And there are birds also. There are birds of prey. There are, eagles, owls, and so many types of. Previously, I was thinking there is only one type of parrot, but then there are parrots, and there are so many types of macaws and all. You see now in India also when we go to the pet store. In South Africa also once Shipa Dandiwar went, we used to come across pet stores, departmental stores and all. So many types of birds, so many varieties of fish and birds are there. So living entity can go to all these species actually. The words Thanu, fixed, and Achala, immovable, have been repeated in order to give a clear conception of the stable nature of the Jivatma. The Jivatma is stable, Sthanu, fixed. The Jivatma is called Avyakta, imperceptible, because it is very subtle. What do you mean by subtle actually? Subtle means mind, something very subtle. For example, what is going on in my mind is very subtle. What is going on in your mind is very subtle. But sometimes we can detect what's going on in someone's mind by the facial expressions. But it's very subtle also, those expressions. And sometimes, so Jivatma is very subtle than even mind. So how subtle he must be? He is called Achintya, inconceivable, beyond reasoning, because he pervades the whole body as consciousness. Now, there will be an example, I think Srila Gurudev will be giving, that how the living entity pervades the whole body as consciousness. Srila Gurudev, he gives an examples of Chandan, Harichandan. Harichandan is such a cooling that if you put one dot of Harichandan on your forehead, Even in hot sun, you will be feeling very cool. If you put a dot of kasturi, pure kasturi, which is found in the navel of one particular type of deer in Himalayas, in Tibet. So if you put kasturi or musk dot on your forehead, you will feel very hot, even if it is very cold outside. So like that, the Jivatma is in the heart, but the signs of consciousness manifest in the entire body. Understand? So he is called avikarja, immutable, because he is free from the six type of transformations such as birth and duration of existence. So that you have to understand. What are the six type of transformations? So the Jivatma basically doesn't have to undergo these six type of transformations. That is birth, duration of existence, growth, procreation, diminution, and death. Understand? Like you see that there is birth. There is birth. And generally human beings give birth to one child. But you see fish give birth to hundreds of fish. Understand? So many species give birth to many, many baby fish or eggs, and then they hatch, and so many living entities take birth. Generally, I will go for preaching. I see that one hen is working with maybe 10 chicks, about 8 chicks, 10 chicks. I'm seeing. Means that hen has laid eggs, and the eggs hatched. The chicks came out, and the chicks. Obviously, hen is not a mammal, so the chicks from day one they have to eat the grains or insects. But they know who is their mother actually. The chicks can recognize. And you see that the birth is there. Then death is also there. That's one transformation. So birth and death, the two transformations. Main transformation. But there are some other transformations also. So if someone then raises the question, will the soul not die? Even figuratively at the death of body, she answers, no, the soul has no relationship with at all with the body. Understand? So basically, the soul has no relationship with the body. So soul doesn't die at all. So here, very clearly told that the soul has no death. So very good verse actually. Achebdyoyam adayoyam aklebdyo ashochevacha nitya sarvagata sthanu achaloyam sanatana avyaktoyam achintyoyam avikaryoyam uchyate tasmat evam viditvainam nanu shochitam arasi. So actually, not only Arjuna, but many times we also lament. We also many times lament for someone of our relatives dying, or we are ourselves sick. We are sick ourselves. Some people are identified with terminal disease, or some relatives are identified with terminal disease. These verses give so much comfort, actually, solace to the heart. We don't get totally mad. Just learn that, oh, it's just normal. It's just normal. The body has to dwindle one day. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj in his famous Gita is telling, Achedya means unbreakable. I am this soul. Adahya, unable to be burnt. I am this soul. Akledya, insoluble. Ashosha. Soluble means basically common salt. Common salt you put in water, it will mix with water and get dissolved. Obviously, it's in the water which has pH, normal pH. But if you are putting salt in the Black Sea water, then it will not dissolve because it's already too saturated with salts. Understand? Like in Israel, I think the Black Sea or something, whatever it is, that you can't drown in that sea because it has so many salts are dissolved in it that it's extremely heavy water. You just can't drown. Uh, so it's like the salt being dissolved in the water, or the alum being dissolved in the water. The soul cannot be dissolved in the water. The soul cannot be dried up also. Shosha. Eva, certainly. Sure. Nityam is everlasting. Everlasting. Sarvagata, all pervading. Sthanuhu, unchangeable. Achalaha, immovable. I am this soul, Sanatana, eternally the same. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. All these qualifications of the atomic soul definitely prove that the individual soul is eternally the atomic particle of the spirit whole. And he remains the same atom eternally without change. So here Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj is telling that we are the atomic particle of the spirit whole. Spirit whole is Krishna and we are his atomic particle. And we remain an atom eternally. Means we don't become Krishna or don't become bigger than Krishna. We stay the atomic only. The theory of monism is very difficult to apply in this case because individual soul is never expected to become one homogeneous. Now actually, theory of monism says that after you die, you become Brahma. You merge in Brahma. So, Srila Gurudev also has said actually, and in Mayavad Jivani, the life history of Mayavad by Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, rendered book, he has very strongly refuted the philosophy of monism. You cannot be one with God, not possible. After liberation from material contamination, the atomic soul may prefer to remain as a spiritual spark in the effulgent rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the effulgent souls enter into the spiritual planets. But intelligent souls enter into the spiritual planets to associate with the Personality of Godhead. So if you want, you can stay in the effulgent rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Means you can stay at the line of demarcation. Means in Brahma Jyoti, you can stay there. But what is the point? Like suppose after a long holiday in a college or school, for vacation you have come home, and once you come home, you don't enter the home, but stay at the door of the house and don't want to enter the home. Your mother will say, oh, come on, you are away for last semester, 6 months I didn't see you. Why are you not coming inside? Say, no, I just want to stay at the gate of the house or at the doorstep. I don't want to come inside. So once you have got liberated from the material world, then what you are supposed to do? You have to enter the spiritual world to relish the pastimes. In material world, there was only one particular type of melo was there, and that is the melo of Karuna Ras. Karuna Ras actually means melo of compassion actually. This is the only melo that is in the material world. Karuna Rasa. You see everywhere the Karuna Rasa. Karuna Rasa is the melo of compassion. Understand? So this material world is also Karuna Lila of Krishna. So here actually, Shri Krishna being the embodiment of uninterrupted supreme bliss, there is no possibility of any harm coming to him. But when a devotee, out of intense love, thinks that some calamity may befall him, he becomes the object of Karuna Rasa for that devotee. Generally, actually, sometimes Bhagavan feels compassion for us, and sometimes we feel compassion for Bhagavan. Is it possible that Krishna have encountered any harm? Not possible. But sometimes Mother Yashoda is worried. Oh, Putana attacked him. Agasur, Bakasur, so many demons are attacking him like this. Then Krishna is the object of that melo of compassion, and we are the objects of Krishna's compassion. Basically, we are the objects of Krishna's compassion. Krishna is also very compassionate to devotees. He cannot tolerate the suffering of the devotees. Understand? So basically, the jivas, they are eternally waiting to enter into Vaikuntha. And now this is a great opportunity, human form of life. Like you are studying the projectiles in mechanics, and projectiles need something called escape velocity. Or you're theorying that any missile theory or anything, then you want to escape the gravitational field of the Earth, then you have to have certain escape velocity. How the satellites are launched by ISRO or NASA, they put them on top of a rocket. The rocket has very high velocity called escape velocity. Otherwise, it cannot escape the gravitational pull of the earth very easily. Understand? So, in human form of life, we have that escape velocity to go to the Golok Vrindavana Vaikunta. Now, the word Sarvagata, all pervading, is significant because there is no doubt that living entities are all over God's creation. Sarvagata means the living entities are everywhere. They live on the land, in the water, in the air, within the earth, and even within fire. Like so many types of living entities we see on the earth: dogs, hogs, horses, donkeys, monkeys, everywhere on the land. Then there are some living entities, uh, they live in the water. So water has many types of aquatics, not just fish, but there are crocodiles also living in water, and so many types of living entities are inside of water. Then in air also there are actually uh, living entities. Actually, aquatic world is another world by itself. Understand? What goes on inside the oceans, we generally don't know. Like once I was in America. So in America, I was living in San Diego. There is one German devotee by name Sadananda Prabhu. He had a farm, and he was into health food business. So they used to make some health foods, like some bars made from sesame bars, jaggery and sesame and honey, like Nutella bars, like nutrition bars. And once he got some big, thick green, uh, uh, you know, lean green material, which is he said that this is from the ocean, and they were making some nutritious bars from this. It's called nori actually. Might have heard of nori actually. Then he said this is the seaweed. It's very healthy. It has a lot of nutrition. So no wonder that the fish eat this seaweed and becomes very strong. Understand? So in the ocean also there is so much vegetation is going on, and people try to get that seaweed, nori and all, eat it also. So God's creation is means you never know all these things. Understand? When you travel all around the world, you, like when I was in Saranda's farm, then I saw this particular animal called Yama. Yama or Lama. Lama or Yama, they spell it double Llama, Lama or Yama. So I was surprised to see this animal. This looked like a small camel in shape. It had also the quality of a goat. Understand? But that animal could climb mountain hills, mountains, mountain terrains, like top of a mountain very easily. So it had the quality of a mule. Mule means cross between a donkey and a horse. So uh, I said, wow, this animal is, and also that llama or lama used to give some wool like a sheep. I said, wow, there are so many qualities in one animal. Like it has a cross like a shaped like camel, but gives wool like sheep. Understand? And runs like a deer and can climb mountain like a mule. I said, wow, it's a very useful animal. Understand? So Bhagavan made like this so many times. This is God's creation. So many living entities live in the air also, airborne bacteria, airborne viruses, we heard about. Understand? And in air also so many types of living entities are there. Within the earth, inside the earth you dig also, you'll see so many types of snakes are there. Snakes live deep inside the earth. Uh, Actually, underneath the earth, there is a lower pyramid system. There are so many snakes. Underneath the earth, actually, no living entity can go underneath the earth. But underneath the earth, we heard that Bhagavatam tells us that there are many snakes, and on their hoods there are jewels, and through the jewels the light is coming out, and that lower pyramid systems are illuminated by the jewels on the hoods of the snakes. Now, apparently, the snakes have jewels on their hoods, and they say that they are very dear. the jewels are very dear to the snake. In the absence of that jewel, the snake will live its life. Understand? Uh, so basically, the snake is teaching us something. Just like you take away the jewel from the hood of the snake will give up life in separation. Understand? What basically the snake does sometimes, it has a jewel on the head, then it will keep the jewel on the ground. Why the jewel is given on the hood to the snake? Because snake's vision is not very strong, and the snake has to hunt in the dark. So how the snake with not good eyes able to catch the insects and other animals which it is preying on like frogs and all? Not possible. So the God has given the snake a jewel on the head. It will keep the jewel, and in the light of the jewel start hunting. Understand? Sometimes some people they very cruel and they cover the jewel by a cloth. Understand? So snake cannot see anymore where the jewel is, and then the snake dies in separation of that jewel because the snake loves the jewel very much. So like that, you should love God. Understand? Just like the snake loves its jewel and gives up life without absence of jewel. So actually, we should not think that the jewels are imaginary. Patyavali also there is a story. Bhagavatam also talks about the jewels on the hoods of snakes. So, the Nagamani. That is true. These are real things. Understand? So living entities everywhere. Lower planetary system also. There are so many types of snakes. Karkotaka, Kalia, and so many snakes have been described. And in the water also, in the air, in the earth, and even within fire, there are living entities. Now that is very surprising. We generally think that nothing exists inside fire. Nothing inside exists fire. But they found that bacteria can survive even inside fire. Understand? That is very, very surprising. Means um, so inside fire, there are some living entities are there. And there are living entities living on the sun planet also. Our scriptures tell us, right, that the living entities they live in the sun planet also. So no doubt that living entity is sarvagataha. So the belief that they are sterilized in fire is not acceptable because it is clearly stated here that the soul cannot be burned by fire. So basically, Pasteur, Louis Pasteur and other people they talked about sterilization, pasteurization of milk and all. Sterilization. So generally our concept of sterilization is like previously there were not disposable syringes, needles. In my childhood, I remember there were not many disposable needles available. So we had to use the same syringe and same injection for so many people. Our doctor, family doctor, Mr. Borgaonkar. Dr. Borgaonkar, what he used to do is to take the needle and he used to boil it in water, actually, hot water. And again, he used to use that to give injection. That was sterilization. But still, living entities will be there, understand, even at high temperature. There is no doubt that there are living entities also in the sun planet with suitable bodies to live there. Understand? You can go to the sun planet. There are descriptions of living entities going to the sun planet in Bhagavatam, and so many Radharani also went to the sun planet apparently, one kalpa. So if the sun is uninhabited, then the word Sarvagata, living entity, is everyone becomes meaningless. The scientists say there is no life on the sun. That is what our scientists say. NASA scientists would say. We don't think there can be life on the sun. But you see that Bhagavad Gita says, Nitya Sarvagata Sthano Racholo Sanatana. The living entity is going to the sun planet also, and there must be life on the sun also. So this is the power of Bhagavad Gita. Understand? It teaches us what is beyond the knowledge of NASA and ISRO and all the scientific community. Avyaktoyam achintoyam avikaryayam uchyate tasmadevam viditvaina nanu shochitam arhasi. Now Krishna is telling that avyakta, it is invisible. The soul is invisible, cannot be seen by the naked eye. What to speak of seeing the soul by naked eye? Cannot see it by the most powerful electronic microscope you have. The electronic microscope can see so many subatomic particles, but it cannot see the soul by that electronic microscope. Otherwise, the scientist would have looked at it. I am the soul, achintya, is inconceivable. I am the soul is avikarja, unchangeable. I am the soul, uchyate is said. Tasma, therefore, evam, like this, viditva, knowing it well, enam, the soul, do not anushochitam, to lament, you deserve. So it is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. Again and again, Bhagavan is telling, don't lament, don't lament. And we should also not lament in this material world. Anything when happens in your life, we should not lament. Because Rupa Goswami also has told us in one shloka, Shloka Marshadivir Bhaved Akrantam Yasya Manasa Katham Tasya Mukundasya Spurti Sambhavana Bhavet. This great book Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.115, Sri Rupa Goswami says, Shoka Marshadivir Bhaved Akrantam Yasya Manasam Katham Tatra Mukundasya Spurti Sambhavana Bhavet. How can Mukunda manifest in the heart of a person who is filled with emotions like grief and anger? If you have grief or if you are angry, then Mukunda cannot manifest in your heart. So we have to be very, very careful. Padma Purana also says like this. Shoka Marshadivir Bhavir Akarantam Yasya Manasam Katham Tasya Mukundasya Spurtim Sambhavana. Within the heart of one who is full of anger or pride or lamentation about the state of his wife or sons, there is no possibility of Krishna being manifest. Many people are very attached to their wives and children. Understand? It is good to be, no doubt that we love our wives, children, husbands, everything. No doubt about it. It's okay. It is natural. We love our children and wife. But suppose what will happen if your wife leaves you? What will happen? Or she dies or she divorces you, what will happen? Or suppose what happens if children don't take care of you in old age and they just abandon you, what will happen? Will you be a mental wreck? Or will you just remember the instructions of scriptures and not lament? You'll be better off not lamenting. Otherwise you might lose a mental balance, emotional balance, you may become crazy. Or you might take the final step like ultimate step of suicide and all. Understand? Suicide. So many news we read that wife divorced the husband and husband ended the life or wife ended the life. Understand? So there is nothing you should lament for. Neither your children nor your wife. I'm not telling you be impersonal with your wife and husband. But I'm just telling don't be attached. And here Padma Purana is also telling don't be attached to these things. So this shloka concerns one whose heart is afflicted by lamentation and anger. Amarsha means anger and shoka means sadness. If you lose material things, you become very sad. If you are always absorbed in these two things, then Mukunda, meaning Bhagavan Krishna, will not manifest in your heart. So if your mind is disturbed, if your heart is disturbed, thus contaminated by these two things, Krishna will not manifest there. Simple. Understand? Therefore, try to keep your heart very pure in all circumstances. If you lose anything in this world, Gurudev is telling, what harm is there? Understand? If you lose anything in this world, What harm is there? Actually, it's easier said than done. Understand? But Srila Gurudev is telling us what harm is there. But for us, there is a big harm if you lose something. Understand? There was one devotee, I think, Ramchandra Prabhu, Delhi temple president. And once he was outside, was talking on mobile phone outside Delhi temple. Raman Vihari Gaudiya Math in Delhi, Janakpuri, those who have gone there. And some thief came and he just snatched the phone as he was talking. It was dark, like 8 o'clock. He just snatched the phone from Ramchandra's hand. He could not do anything. What he can do? And once I was sleeping on a station with a bag, and it was my first mobile phone. Shripat Dandi Maharaj had given me that. I still remember. Sony Ericsson small feature phone. It was very rare. This was a long time ago, 10 years ago. It was a big deal to have a feature phone that time. Shripat Dandi Maharaj got from somewhere. And I was sleeping on one RCK station, and I fell asleep on the platform, and someone came and he just cut my bag and he took away my phone and everything. Even my japamala was taken away. I lamented like anything. Oh, Gurudev gave me that mala, but Maharaj assured me, oh, this japamala, I will give another one. I have Gurudev had chanted one mala, I will give it to you. Then that was the second mala also I lost. So actually, you are not supposed to lose the mala given by Gurudev. But in preaching, twice I lost the mala. Then finally, So the point actually that I'm telling is that we lament. Obviously, we should lament if we have lost the mala given by Gurudev. Obviously, many times devotees used to come to Gurudev. Gurudev, I have lost the mala which you gave me. The Gurudev said, why you are not lost? I only mala. He's also been lost. He was angry. Understand? Because that's our relationship with Gurudev. But sometimes it happens that it's beyond your control. But many people tell, oh, I lost my Harinam. Actually, you should not say that I lost Harinam. You cannot lose Harinam. You just lost your mala. Harinam cannot be taken away by anyone. Thank God. Understand? Sri Rupa Goswami and Sri Sanatana Goswami were highly posted officials in the government, but they left their positions. Why? We want to engage all our property in Krishna's service, but they left their property. So if your property is later stolen or lost, why lament? Don't lament. Otherwise, your heart will be impure and you will not be able to remember Krishna. Understand? Like so many devotees I have seen that they have prosperous real estate business, stock business, and then they suddenly lose that money. Like I have seen some devotees, they used to support so much, and then our mission of Krishna consciousness, Gurudev also. And then they lost. They lost. They became bankrupt, literally on the verge of bankruptcy. It happens. But if that happens also, Gurudev is telling, don't lament. If suddenly your prosperous business collapses and you come on the verge of bankruptcy, there's nothing to lament. Yavat syatsto nirvaha sikuryat tavadarthavid adhikke nyunatamcha chavate parmartha. Now, this is a very, very important verse. If a devotee accepts those things necessary for the maintenance of life, it does not mean he is a sense enjoyer. Understand? Obviously, you need some sabji, you need chapati or rice, some staple food. You need obviously some mat to sleep upon, and so these are necessities. And if you are in India, you need a mosquito net. You may not have a mat to sleep upon. You can sleep on the floor or ground, but you need a mosquito net because so many mosquitoes. Mosquitoes. Once I went to Navadvip with some devotee, Hasarghatta devotee, a good friend of Shipatadi Maharaj. He's actually the caretaker of Sri Venugopal temple. The deity is installed by Pandavas near Hasarghatta. Very beautiful deity of Venugopal. So Mr. Gowda. So both of us reached Navadvip Mutt, Yeshoji Gaudiya Mutt, Navadvip very late. So Gurudev was on the planet that time and 10 o'clock or something. And we didn't have mosquito net. And so many mosquitoes all night. Uh, Both of us were almost awake. Uh, then we realized actually you have nothing, but you should have a mosquito net. Bengalis, they are very smart. They may sleep anywhere, but they will always carry a mosquito net with them. And they will always have a very big strings. One string maybe to connect here, there, and somehow sleep under the mosquito net. And they sleep peacefully. Bengali devotees come for parikrama, Navati parikrama, they sleep open also many times with mosquito net. Without mosquito net, a Bengali devotee will not live for parikrama. Understand? What I'm trying to tell is that certain things you need. Like what to speak of us, even Sanatana Goswami was troubled by mosquitoes in Chakreshwar temple. Lord Shiva told him, I assure you henceforth no mosquito will come here. Understand? So devotees neither accept too much nor too little. So don't think that, don't eat too much or too little. Bhagavad Gita will tell us further. Or don't over collect or under collect. Just whatever required, just accept that. Uh, because if you accept too much or too little, then that will hamper your progress towards your goal. Narada Purana says that. So for whom has this sloka been told? It has not been told for the Kanishta. The Kanishta Adhikari should engage his money and everything else for Krishna. But this sloka is for those who have ruchi. It is for those like Shiva's Pandit. They think whatever comes is okay. They chant the holy name and remain undisturbed. Even if death comes, they are not disturbed. Rather, they think many diseases may come or relative may die, no harm. They're always satisfied and they're always chanting. Like you see that Shiva's Pandit's son died when Mahaprabhu Sankirtan was going on. And if you don't disturb Mahaprabhu Sankirtan, otherwise I'll commit suicide. Don't cry loudly, otherwise Mahaprabhu Sankirtan will disturb. Mahaprabhu says that someone has died. So Shiva's Pandit never was, he never compromised. He never lamented even for the death of his son. He never worked hard for his livelihood. He was simply doing Nama Sankirtan. So disease may also come. Understand? No harm. Like Srila Gurudev's life also, you see that he underwent many operations. Understand? Srila Gurudev. So many operations and so much sometimes hospitalized. But he always kept on chanting. On the intercontinental flight, from this continent to that continent, he used to chant 3 lakh holy name in the flight. Never used to sleep, chanting, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh. Even those who accompanied him, they say that they never slept on the flight. He kept on chanting all the time. Understand? So here, very clearly told that these qualities of the living entity. So we are all eternal. There is no source of understanding the identity of the father except for the authority of the mother. So this we have to accept the Vedic wisdom. As far as the soul's existence is concerned, no one can establish his existence experimentally beyond the proof of Shruti or Vedic wisdom. It is not possible to find the existence of the soul because the soul is weightless. Understand? Like for example, if the soul was weighing 10 kilos, then you can measure living person and dead person, their bodies. So when someone is alive and when someone has died, and you can find a weight difference. But the soul is so subtle that there is no, on a weighing scale, you cannot find the weight of the soul. Understand? So, experimentally, you cannot establish. Only Vedic wisdom. We have to accept this truth. Because there is no other source of understanding the existence of soul, although it is a fact by perception. It's a fact by perception because what is the difference between dead body and living body? Then you can see. Living body, if you cut, even if you pluck out one hair from the head, the living entity will scream with pain. Suppose someone will pluck one hair from my head, there will be excruciating pain. Hmm. Like there are many Jain sadhus, there is one religion in India, Jain religion. They take renounced order of life, males and females, especially males. What they do, they just pluck the hair of the sadhu. When you take their renounced order of life, they just pluck the hair with the hands, with fingers. I said, thank God I am not take sannyas in Jain order. Imagine your hair being plucked. It must be so painful, actually. I'm not criticizing that religion, but I'm saying that it's so painful. Then I asked, many Jain persons are good friends. I said, how come your sadhus tolerate that hair being plucked? Then he said that they apply some medicine there or something. But I said, whatever it is, wow, it may be so painful. And they actually pull out the roots of the hair. So the hair practically almost don't grow or grow very less. In Jain sadhus, you see that they're almost permanently bald because the roots of the hair are gone, and hair almost never grow or grow very little. Well, our hair are growing, and Purnima will get rid of our hair. Understand? So, anyways, but their sadhus also follow Chaturmas. Understand? Not only the Hindu sadhus or the Vaishnava sadhus, Mayavadis, Jain sadhus also follow Chaturmas. And they also respect cows and other animals, and especially they don't want to kill cows. And they do Chaturmas. In Bangalore also many Jain sadhus come and they do Chaturmas in their own temples. So, what I'm telling is that we have to accept this truth because there is no other source of understanding the existence of soul, although it is affected by perception. There are many things we have to accept solely on grounds of superior authority. In this material world also, one simple example is given. No one can deny the existence of his father uh, based on the authority of his mother. There is no source of understanding the identity of the father except by the authority of the father. Generally speaking, the mother will tell you exactly that who's the father of the son. Understand? Like Bhagavatam also story comes that when Buddha was born, then there was a big fight between the moon and Brihaspati. Brihaspati's wife Tara, she was asked, who's the father of Buddha? You have begot a son by the name, you are pregnant and who's the father of your baby in your womb? Tara wasn't replying, she was feeling shy. But she was married to Brihaspati, but apparently the baby belonged to the moon god. The moon son was Buddha. Understand? Then finally she told very shyly that actually it is the baby of the moon, Chandra. Understand? So only mother can tell us who is our father. Similarly, there is no source of understanding the soul except by studying the Vedas. So actually that's why you understand that the Veda is called the mother and the Guru, the Diksha Guru is called father. Understand? Just like we take birth from our mother who gives the eggs and father who gives the semen. So by the combination of mother's eggs and semen of father, we are born. So mother is there. So similarly, our second birth or our Daiksha Janma, initiation is also a birth where Guru is the father and the Veda Mata, Gayatri is the mother. Understand? We taken birth from Mother Gayatri, Vedas. Understand? The Shrutis or the Vedas are a mother. So in other words, the soul is inconceivable by human experimental knowledge. There are so many types of experiments. I have seen from childhood, I have seen so many experiments. In chemistry, we have titration, we had solubility of sodium. When I remember in 10th standard, we had an experiment of solubility of sodium. Now, sodium is one metal in the periodic table. If you put it in the water, there may be an explosion. Understand? Potassium or sodium. They react badly with water. Understand? So anyways, but that type of experimentation is not sufficient to find the existence of the soul. In other words, the soul is inconceivable by human experimental knowledge. The soul is consciousness and conscious. That also in the statement of the Vedas, and we have to accept that. Unlike the bodily changes, there is no change in the soul. So soul is unchangeable. As eternally changeable, the soul remains atomic in comparison to the infinite supreme soul. Like we were classmates, I have not met many of my classmates of college or school for a long time. But I see their Facebook photographs, DPs, and I see that, oh, how they look now on WhatsApp. Huh? I said, this is the same boy, teenage boy, I associated with him. Now you see, he's looking so different. Understand? So the body changes. Even my body has changed. But the soul doesn't change. This concept is repeated in the Vedas in different ways just to confirm the stability of the conception of soul. Repetition of something is necessary in order that we understand the matter thoroughly without error. Like many times we tell something again and again, especially my mother used to tell me, my father used to tell me again and again that do like this, don't forget to do like this, don't forget, don't forget. So it is to impress on my mind like that. So Krishna again and again is telling Arjuna the same thing, that don't uh, don't lament, don't lament. Soul is eternal. अथ चैनं नित्यजातं नित्यं मामन्यसे मृतं तथापि त्वं महाबाहो नैनं शोचितुमर्हसि. Verse 26, synonyms. Atha, if, however, cha, also enam, the soul, nitya jatam, always born, nityam, forever, va, either, manyase, you think, mritam, dead, tatha, api, still, tvam, you, mahabaho, or mighty one, no, never, enam, about the soul, shochitum, to lament, arasi, deserve. If, however, you think that the soul or the symptoms of life is always born and dies forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty Amba. There is always a class of philosophers almost akin to Buddhists who do not believe in the separate existence of the soul beyond the body. So, this is actually another verse, very important verse actually. So, we'll take it next time because 1 hour already over. Atachainam 2.26. Atachainam nityajatam nityam manyase mritam tapitam mahabaho naivam shuchitum arhasi. Again in this verse Krishna is telling, don't lament. Now giving another argument to Arjuna. Another argument to Arjuna. That don't lament, don't lament, don't lament. Atachainam nityajatam nityam manyase mritam tatapittam mahabaho naivam shuchitum arhasi. However, you think that the Atma is always born and always dies, there is still no reason for you to grieve. So Bhagavan is giving arguments from this side, that side, somehow the other is convincing. Either way, whether you accept the eternality of the soul and temporary nature of the body, or whether you accept or don't accept, still you should not lament. Krishna is using so many logics here. We'll take that verse next time. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So I offer my respectful obeisances to Srila Bhakti Shrup Siddhanti Maharaj, who was actually great disciple of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. And Bhakti Shri Siddhanti Goswami Maharaj was, if I'm not wrong, he was born in Bangladesh. His name was Shiv Shankar De. And he always used to speak truth. Once he went to Bangladesh to preach with other sannyasis and he spoke the truth. So many members of the audience were very angry. But he always spoke the truth. He was a big scholar actually. He was a very big scholar and he wrote so many books. He was always associated with Srila Bhakti Bharati Maharaj and Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. He was very bold. He was very bold. So I offer my Shraddha Pushpanjali at his lotus feet. May he bless us. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripas. Vishnubhyo namaha. Vedas.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavad Prams, thank you so much. Thank you, dear devotees, for tuning today. Anybody has any questions? Okay, there's no questions, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandharva Giridhari Radha Vinoda Bihari Ji ki Jai. Om Vishnu Par Suntara Shata Shishi Mata Bhakti Vedanta Vishnu Deti Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Om Vishnu Par Stotara Shata Shishi Mata Bhakti Vedanta Dandi Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishnu Vishnu Par Stotara Shata Shishi Mata Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishnu Vishnu Par Stotara Shata Shishi Mata Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Pravishta Vishnu Pad Stotra Shat Shishimar Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Pravishta Vishnu Pad Stotra Shata Shishimar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Pravishta Vishnu Pad Stotra Shata Shishira Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitya Pravishta Param Bhagavat Pravara Shishira Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Pravishta Shishira Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai. नितिल प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सर्वभौम शिष्य जगन्नाथ दास बाबा जी महाराज की जय. श्री गौद्य वेदांताचार्य श्री श्री बलदेव विद्याभूषण प्रभु की जय. श्री विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर की जय. श्री नरोत्तम श्रीनिवास रामन प्रभु त्राय की जय. श्री कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय. श्री रूप सनातन पात रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल दास रघुनाथ सद गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय. श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंद ऋषि गौर प्रसाद वृंद की जय. नामचार्य श्रीला दास ठाकुर की जय. प्रेम सको श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसति गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्री अंतरद्वीप मायापुर सीमांत द्वीप गोद्रुम द्वीप मध्याद्वीप कोलाद्वीप ऋतुद्वीप जानुद्वीप मोद्रद्वीप रुदति पद्मकार श्री नवद्वीप धाम की जय. श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपाल गोपी गोवर्धन द्वादश वनत्मकार श्री व्रजमंडल की जय. श्री राधा कुंज श्याम कुंज गंगा यमुना तुलसी भक्ति देवी की जय. श्रीमती वृंद देवी की जय. श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जय. श्री गोपीश्वर महादेव की जय. श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा चक्र जीव की जय. श्री क्षेत्र मंदिर की जय. सर्व विघ्न विनाशकर श्री नरसिंह देव की जय. भक्त प्रभार श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय. चार धाम की जय. चार संप्रदाय की जय. चार आचार्य की जय. अकर्मत राष्ट्र चैतन्य मात की जय. श्री केशव जी गौरी मत सकमत समूह की जय. ग्रंथ राशि मद भागवतम की जय. श्री भगवद गीता की जय. श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. सामगान भक्त वृंद की जय. श्री निताय गौर प्रेम हरि हरि बोल.
हरि 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 बोल. शरणमन प्रभु की
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Sripad Bhaktivedanta Vishnu Daivata. Sripad Bhaktivedanta Vishnu Daivata Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, dear
for joining. And we'll see you all tomorrow, dear devotees, for Sripad Bhaktivedanta Dandi Maharaj's class, and also again in the evening for Sripad Bhaktivedanta Vishnu Daivata Maharaj's class with Madhurya Kadamani. We will continue. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavad, Krishna dear devotees.
Thank you. Thank you. Hare